Hey, welcome back everyone. I'm going to be straight up with this video. I've never created a loot zone before, and we're going to learn together. Hey! So, loot zones, here according to the mapper, basically they work alongside new loot distribution system to allow us to take loot customization to a new level. Basically, if you have like two identical houses, but one has a loot zone on top, it'll produce wildly different loot spawns if you want it to. There's no need to add loot zones to your map, but they will offer a wider loot variety. Basically, what ends up happening is we're going to go ahead and add a loot zone, again, into our map. Here we go. This is our object type and object group. So we're already familiar with this, so let's go ahead and get started. Here's my IDS. That's going to be here. Object type, loot zone. Boop, 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 boop. Control copy. Control paste. Object group name, loot zone. I'm going to go to the bottom. There it is. All right, now we can add loot zones to the map the same way as any others. Currently, there are only a few zones. Looks like rich, poor, trailer park, and army. Heck yeah. So, in essence, we can go ahead and create. Let me go ahead and see if there's anything else. No. Here's an example of a sample map mod using custom room definitions. So we can effectively now hover a loot zone over an identical thing, identical house, but give it different type of loot based on these 4 loot zones. And we can actually do that. So right now, this is basically a house, and by complete sheer luck, I surrounded it with the army zombie type, right? So let's close this out and force it to reload. Then I can actually label that with our loot zone of army, because it said that one of those is army. Yeah, rich, poor, trailer park, and army. So now I'm going to go ahead and select this loot zone here. I got to make sure that it's level 0. It is. And now by selecting the create object, I'm going to go ahead and surround this with this loot zone. This loot zone, again, scroll down to level 0. Here, I need to give it a name, so it's going to be ARMY, Army. So now this is going to make this house to be an Army loot zone. That being said, I'm going to save. I'm actually going to go over to the maps area to show exactly, to kind of, to show what they're saying. So I'm going to go into our TMX and into our TBX 00. We need to rename that 628. And here's our building 1 TBX. I can actually drag and drop a second copy of this object here. Now, both of these are going to be the identical building. Bonuses, I'll have the same building, and I can make multiple copies, which can make populating my map very easy. Minuses, or pros and cons, if I go into the building editor and I change this 1TBX file, it'll change it for all of them. If you want to have the same house over and over again with slight differences, what I would recommend is go into your file explorer, make a copy of this file, change it like building 2, building 3, etc., and then you can drag each one differently so that you can affect them. But again, this is a way, by these loot zones, to have the same building over and over again. Let's say it's like a suburb or something like that, and you could give it different loot zones to effectively entice the player to keep searching the next house. So let's go ahead and try this. Next loot zone is going to be, what was it? Rich. The other one was poor. So, that's a rich loot zone. Yep, there it is. Then I'm going to go ahead and, again, drag this building over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another loot zone just to test them out. And that's going to be double-click poor. And the last one, trailer park, I don't care. I'm just going to make it. And then as a control, I'm actually going to go ahead and just drag this building here. And basically, this is going to be our control group. This is going to be a no loot zone building. I'm going to go ahead and save. That's basically it. Once all cells have their zones added, close any cells left open, so we're back on the main world. No, that's it. Great. And then we need to make sure that we write spawn points to Lua and write objects to Lua. That way this all can load up. Again, all of these objects, because we've already done this, write objects to Lua. These objects that we're adding here, which all of these little zones and things are all considered objects. all of that will be added into Lua. So with that being said, let's go ahead and put all this into Steam and get it going. So let's go ahead and launch the game and test out our zones. And that'll be in the next video, doing a testing. All right, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.